You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Wellness Wednesday. Of course, I'm joined in studio by our regular commentator, Claudine Cooper. You can always find her at ClaudineCooper.com. You may remember I opened the show tonight talking about the heat, how we needed to be safe. We needed to be wary of the temperature. Even though we may not think it's dangerous, it can be very dangerous. And Claudine, that opens up where I wanted to start. Given the heat, given our desire to get our workout in, maybe we're not at the gym. How do you approach dealing with the heat? Because even though you're inside, you could easily become dehydrated, walk outside, and bad things happen.
Oh, you can easily get dehydrated. You could get sunsick, just being exposed to the sun. I was in Chino Hills today.
My condolences.
It was 100 and something degrees.
It doesn't matter after 100. It's just too hot.
It was so hot. You said, "Oh, Claudine, you look like you had a tan." I was like, "Is that what it is?" But I was working outside. I was not working out, but I was definitely doing some physical work. And anyone who works in the physical labor field is used to dealing with the elements. Maybe I have a higher tolerance for being outside than someone who's accustomed to the comfort of air conditioning all day.
Like me. I know you didn't want to use my name, but I'll use my name, me.
I mean, look, I would say anyone who works in an office or even inside of a gym, you're inside of a climate controlled environment. But the more you're exposed to different elements, the stronger you get in your tolerance. And look, we could just apply this to about everything, right? Because the more you expose yourself to things that are uncomfortable, you do become a little better at dealing with them.
Look, as I get older, my job is to make myself as comfortable as possible, not increase my discomfort.
Then why do people go into the sauna and the steam room? And why are they intentionally exposing themselves to things that are very hot? Or now, have you heard about the cold plunge phenomenon?
Yeah, I've seen it on social media, Instagram. Definitely, people will drop themselves in their bathing suits into this icy bath.
Yes.
I've heard mixed results and mixed feelings about it, but I've never done it, nor have I considered doing it. What say you?
I have to tell you, I am adverse to change. My husband says I'm like a robot. I just kind of do the same thing over and over again, right? Are you like that too?
Yes, I am. My OCD, I have a routine in life.
Okay. I heard about cold plunge and I was like, here we go with a new whatever, a new recovery treatment, a new phenomenon. And now everybody wants to do it, right? And like you said, you see the cold plunge videos, you see the Instagrams and the Facebooks. So I was like, I'm going to let this phenomenon die down. I was born and raised in an ice cold climate. I don't need to dive into an ice cold pool.
Minneapolis?
Minneapolis. Yes, one of the coldest climates in the country. So for me, I had no desire to try cold plunge. The first thing I did was research the why. Why do people want to submerge themselves in a bucket of cold water? Well, this is what I found out. A lot of people are experiencing what's called a dysregulated nervous system. And these are new words for things like anxiety or heart palpitations, shortness of breath. And you know me, I'm going to talk about the last 4 years of isolation and lack of connection. And I think that a lot of these treatments that are recovery treatments to help us regulate our nervous system are becoming more popular now, because a lot of people do have a dysregulated nervous system.
I wonder, though, because I'm not a doctor, the conventional wisdom is you don't jump in a cold pool. You have to be wary. You mentioned like heart palpitations of even a cold shower, which could be like a shock to the body. Why do you think, though, this runs counter to that and is still caught on?
It's the same concept. Why do people go into a 110 degree sauna and sit in there for 10 or 20 minutes.
Well, see, I don't. I sit my ass at home with air conditioning. So you're not talking about
going
me.
into the sauna. Well, I do think that these kinds of extreme temperatures, which are uncomfortable. I mean, let's be honest. If you do like to be home with your AC, going into the sauna is probably uncomfortable. Me, I'm a steam room girly myself. I'm not really a sauna person, but I will sit in the steam room.
Explain the difference, please, for the uninitiated.
Okay, yes. If you go into a sauna, it's dry heat. The room is typically a wooden style room, and the heat comes from a rock type of a base. And the heat feels like, let's liken it to Palm Springs in July.
That's not enjoyable.
And people love it. Yet people love it. Every day at the gym that I work at, which is still under construction, I have people ask me, when will the sauna be done? They are so pressed to get in this sauna. Now our steam room is rolling. They want to get in the sauna. So steam heat is more like, let's compare it to Hawaii in July. It's humid. It's wet. The room is usually some type of a concrete with a window. So it's steamed up. So that's the difference, steam or sauna.
From your experience, what are some of the pluses and minuses as far as what you or someone else may get out of either or both?
The reason I prefer steam, and I can only speak from my own experience, is that I feel like it helps with my skin and my hair. And it's really nothing more than kind of a relaxation technique for me. I go into the steam room. I do some of my stretches and my things like that while I'm just letting my skin steam.
And the sauna helps people lose weight?
So here's a few things that I recently learned in my research, because recovery treatments have become so popular. And when we say recovery treatments, there's a myriad of recovery treatments right now, right? You have red light therapy. Have you heard of that one?
I sure have.
You have sauna, steam, you have cold plunge. Now they have these sleeves that you can put on your arms and legs that are also part of a recovery treatment. You sit there and it does something to create some kind of I don't know.
Like a vibration stimulation?
I think so. Something like that. I haven't done it. A lot of this stuff is new to me too. And that's one reason I love working in fitness. I'm always learning. There's never a dull moment in the fitness industry. Do you feel the same way about what you do?
Oh, absolutely. And since I'm a traditional martial artist,
yes,
we are more resistant to change because it's built upon tradition and repetition and culture. And the culture is not to change with the times because it's more regimented.
But yet it's changing.
It's changing because the times change around us and you're always trying to reach people in different ways. But at the core of it all, you're trying not to change. You're trying to change the way in which you appeal to people and reach them so they come in.
See, in fitness, it's a little different because research changes, science changes. That's what science is. It's the constant evolution of learning, right?
Yep.
We thought we knew what we knew in 1985 when Jane Fonda was doing whatever, jazzercise aerobics. We know more now.
More information. Mm-hmm.
More information leads to better results too.
I absolutely love this. When we come back, I want to continue my conversation with you, Claudine Cooper, and figure out what else is going on with you now that we're kind of exiting the summer and the perceptions of how people work out, when they work out. Maybe the kids have gone back to school. You got a little more free time and how you might use that. Can you do that for me?
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Mo Kelly, Claudine Cooper, Wellness Wednesday. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And let me take a note from Stefan, who chose that bumper, talking about just breathe. I am a person, I try to meditate with some degree of regularity, calm my emotions, because life can be very stressful. And you often talk about combining the emotional, also the spiritual with the physical. What do you recommend in that respect about treating the other portion of our bodies?
Well, you brought up back to school time. It's September. This is a heavy back to school time, and I'm a mother. And so I remember times when I had 3 small children going to school at 3 different schools at 3 different times, a husband at work, and I'm running around crazy. We've got sports after school. I've got PTA. And you just said, like, so what are some ways that we can incorporate? And I loved that song, by the way, but it says just breathe, right? So one of the techniques that I used to use when I was busy running around here, there, and everywhere, at every stoplight, if it was red, I would take that time to focus on deep breathing, a 4 count in and a 4 count out.
I did something similar. I do a 4 count in, an 8 count hold, then a 4 count out.
That's a great one too. That's a really good one. A lot of these are nervous system regulators. And I know we talked about it earlier, and I do want to go back to that in speaking about learning in fitness and in wellness. We're also learning how the body is holding stress, because when you exercise, you're actually releasing stress from your body. And I think I told you that I've been part of this opening team of this Iconics Fitness in Inglewood. And one of the things that I keep hearing after our 3 months of being open is people saying they feel less stressed.
It's why we feel great after a workout.
You've never left a workout saying, I feel horrible right now.
No, you might have gone through hell to get to that point, but you don't feel worse.
No. And look, anytime you're moving your body, you are moving all kinds of things out of your body, right? And just the act of whether it's cardio or strength training, you were saying, like, what should people do for the workouts and things like that? Number one, it's really, really hot outside in Southern California right now. So my strong suggestion, at least this week, is avoid working out outside.
Say that again, please.
My strong suggestion for this week is avoid working out outside. Unless, of course, you were coming to my workout on Saturday, and then don't avoid.
And it'll be cooler then because it's 9 in the morning.
Right. It'll be cooler, and hopefully it'll cool down by then. Also, we're on the west side, so but saying all that to say that I honestly believe there's no right workout for moms, dads, busy people, workers, there's no right workout. It's really about trying to fit the workout into our busy lives.
Now that kids are going back to school, that might be a stress reliever.
Yes.
For some families, but you make a great point because you have to be intentional. My interpretation of that, of fitting in that workout into your daily schedule. I say daily because weekly is not going to do too much for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, when my children were in sports practice, so I talked about what I did in traffic, right? My deep breathing exercises. And also I would engage the kids in the breathing exercises. But when my children were at sports practice, most of the parents would be sitting down on their
backside
phone.
Oh, really?
Yes. So one thing I noticed is that when I would look around at other parents at practice, they would be sitting on their backside, yes, looking at their phones, right? And no judgment. I look at my phone too. I love my phone. However, during those practices where our children are exercising and being active, let that be an encouragement, a motivation, a reminder that the only people who need to move are people, not just children. Right, exactly. It always perplexes me to see parents not moving, but sitting there watching their children moving.
Wasting that time and opportunity and the inclination.
Now, one of the teams that my child used to play for, he would play at a park that had a big track around it. So a couple of us moms, we would just take that time and just walk around the track. That was an easy way.
Don't say Darby.
Listen, my kid played at Darby. We walked around that one too.
It's got to be Darby Park.
Oh, we've played at so many parks, but the ones that have walking tracks are the easiest get up and go for the mom and dads.
And you're still within eye shot.
Absolutely.
of whatever they're doing.
First of all, they're not doing anything that you need to be sitting there watching really anyways. Let the kid practice. Let them connect with their teammates. Let the coach do what the coach do. Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And you get up and do something that your body will thank you for. Your health will thank you for.
Now that we're back into school session, I know that if you haven't started already, you're probably on the verge of starting your weekend free community workouts each Saturday. Where are you with that?
Well, we start this Saturday, September 7th at 9 a.m. and we go all the way through to the middle of December. So it's going to be a nice long season. There's a lot more stuff opening over here in Inglewood. So we have, let's say, a movie theater. We have the immersive theater. We have the gym. I heard they're opening a wine bar in the complex. Yes. So, there's quite a few different things. There's a sporting goods store now. So they're having an actual open house to introduce people to the businesses that have recently landed in Inglewood. And that is on, don't quote me, I think it's on September 19th.
Before I let you go, right alongside that, talk about businesses opening, the Intuit Dome. How has that impacted you personally or professionally?
At this point, it has not really impacted me that much, but I will say there's been a lot of fussing about traffic.
Yes.
So for me, I do a lot of my driving, at times when there's not concerts or games because I'm accustomed to it. It's just that mostly it's people who are probably not really used to it that get caught in that traffic and are like, whoa, what's happening? So my strong suggestion would be to use these reliable devices and look and see if there's events in Inglewood and avoid it if you can.
Well, yeah, that's avoiding the stress as well, because I'd make it a point not to go to that side of town on a Sunday, if only because of SoFi Stadium. And now I'll have to also take into account the Clippers and the Intuit Dome or YouTube Theater.
And don't forget the Forum
right.
and the music festivals. And I mean, it's becoming the entertainment epicenter of at least that area, right?
I think more so than downtown LA Live, most definitely.
Well, and the other thing you have to take into consideration is that because of the way that our neighborhood is set up, there was a lot of space, and there's not a lot of space in really much of anywhere in LA. So they took advantage of the space, and now we have concerts, games, events.
And the streets like Manchester and Century weren't that wide to begin with.
No, they weren't. So you will get stuck in traffic. My husband bought one of those electric bikes where they have like a battery.
Really? Yes.
So we can just zip, zap, zoom.
I'll have to bend your ear when we get off the air because I'm curious about that.
Please do. Yeah, we all love it. So,
Claudine Cooper, it's always good to see you.
And it's always good to be seen. I came to Burbank just for you tonight, Mo.
I appreciate that. If you want to know more about Claudine Cooper, go to her website at claudinecooper.com. You can find out all the information about her online and also in-person community workouts. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Yes, you will.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Do you remember during the DNC, I was talking about how the Democrats were spending more money than any campaign before, specifically on digital platforms. They were advertising on digital platforms. That was a central part of the campaign. And I also gave you the numbers for the viewership from night to night. And that was only for television, but it did not take into account social media engagement. People who might have been seeing clips on TikTok or Twitter, X. And more people are getting their news, their information, their entertainment cues from social media, specifically TikTok. And I also said how the Democrats were having troubles previously reaching the younger generation. And that's part of the reason why they ramped up their digital spending. Here is more evidence as to why this might be effective. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter. According to a recent survey from TikTok, users of TikTok already have a larger affinity for going to the theaters. Users are more than 44% more likely than non-users to go to the movies at least once per month. Put another way, if you want to reach that movie ticket buying public, concentrate less per se on, let's say, trailers which are only going to air on TV. Like, you may not see a trailer on TV, but if you're on TikTok, they are marketing it to you directly. And among moviegoers on the app as well, 33% say that TikTok was the reason they went to watch a movie in theaters. So if anything, you can draw a straight line between advertising on TikTok and how that translates into people going to the movies. Now, I noticed this anecdotally. In other words, I'm saying I don't have any data per se to support it, but I've noticed fewer movie trailers on TV. I'll see them online, but I don't see them being advertised in the course of just my normal TV watching. And it may be just, my personal experience, but I do see more trailers being shared and utilized in the social media space. I don't spend a lot of time on TikTok, and I don't take my cues from TikTok, but the ticket buying public is right in that age range of TikTok. You want to hit the younger moviegoers, anyone from 15 to maybe 29, and that's right in the wheelhouse of TikTok. And movies going forward, you can tell they're not only using social media, they're focusing on TikTok. And this actually goes back to another conversation we had last year about trying to ban TikTok. You can't ban TikTok. All you can do is make it where it's unavailable in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. People will go to TikTok, they will find it, they'll download it through a third-party provider regardless. Now, Mark, are you okay with the world moving on and not using traditional media to find their next movie?
I got to be honest with you. I wasn't even aware of it because I rarely see any network TV. Our viewing is so targeted and so fragmented now. It's not like the old days where the family would just park in front of the TV and you had 3 channels and you were subjected to whatever was on with, a little bit of variation. But I noticed I was on Instagram. I don't have TikTok. I find no need for that in my life at this point. But I was on Instagram and they fed me a trailer for the Minecraft movie, and I'm thinking, I think your algorithm might need some adjustment here.
Well, they know you're a movie critic. How about that?
I guess, but also I'm an adult.
Well, all right. Let me blow your mind in this way.
Okay.
Movies and TV is the 4th most viewed content category across TikTok. In other words, people are getting their movie and television information from TikTok predominantly, and TikTok has about 170 million users in the U.S. You can't find that type of coverage or target reach with just TV, conventional TV.
I don't care what you say. I'm not signing up for TikTok. My bandwidth is full. I want to get rid of stuff. I don't need more stuff.
It's not for you. It's for the people who are more inclined to go to the movies and see the movies like The End of Us or any other movie that we're not going to see.
No, I get that. And the long-suffering one is constantly on TikTok. She watches TikTok like the rest of us would watch television. And I don't understand it.
Here's an example, a real world example. Universal Pictures decided to launch a separate TikTok channel for the movie Twisters, which is still in theaters. That separate channel has 270,000 followers and 8.2 million likes. You can mainline your content to people who've opted in to see just Twisters content.
It's like we're living in the future when it comes to watching movies about people chasing twisters in trucks. Yeehaw.
But think of it this way. The 270,000 people who opted in other words, whatever you post will hit their feed, guaranteed. Those 270,000 followers probably don't watch linear TV. Like you don't even watch linear TV, broadcast television.
No, that's done. I mean, that's maybe for some retirees who still have TV, but the era of that is over forever. That's not coming back.
Yeah, there's a role for it to play as part of a larger ad campaign. Yes, you would not just forsake it and not use broadcast or linear TV to advertise. Yeah, there's still a place for that, but you can see how the money and focus has shifted in a way, to your point, Mark, it's never coming back.
But I'm curious what this costs with this viral marketing of films, because adding publicity to a film's budget can sometimes double it.
It can, but you think about the viral nature, and we're going to have the viral load at the top of the hour. Talk about the viral nature of social media, where you post something and then it starts going viral and it's exponentially shared, and you're not paying for that. And honestly, you're only paying for the creation of the content. You put it on a channel which has 270,000 people. Of course, you're going to have to market it, the channel, so people can find it, but it's probably less than buying an ad or buying space in a trailer space in someone else's movie.
Yeah, because remember how astonished we always are every year when we find out the cost of, say, a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl or things like that? This kind of circumvents all that.
It does. Why would you pay $7 million for a 30-second ad? Yes, you have a captive audience. Yes, it will be seen, but it's a one-shot deal. It's not going to be shown to that same number of people ever again. Yeah, you can post it online, but you'll never have that captive audience. Whereas if you do it online with a social media channel that you've created and cultivated, whatever you post will get to them.
We're just about in Minority Report area, aren't we? We're going to be getting these movie trailers on our contact lenses soon, aren't we?
I thought that was the most prescient movie, and it never gets enough credit. When it shows you the future of not only facial recognition, but marketing of products, where John Anderson is walking down this hall and all these products are being bombarded to him just on his eyesight. We're there now. It's just on our phones, but in the movie, it's using your pupils.
Yeah, it hit me last night when I was watching a movie and I hit pause and an advertisement comes on the pause screen. It's like, I can't even get a still shot of the movie in pause now. I got to be advertised at every second I'm awake and my eyes are open. I don't like this.
I noticed that today, literally today, when I was watching something on Peacock. I wanted to pause it because I had to do something work-wise. But sometimes if I'm pausing Amazon Prime, I want to get some other information about the actors in the scene, some backstory. It's almost like a DVD in real time. But Peacock, no, they give you an ad each time you hit pause. It's like, wait a minute, I'm getting ads during whatever I'm watching, and I'm getting an ad when I'm pausing it. And you're charging me a subscription for all those ads on top of it.
I don't know how their marketing research departments figure the ill will that causes, but it really makes me angry and not want to return to some places. Even Tubi, which I absolutely love, and you know how much I love and watch Tubi, they're doing some of that stuff now too, and it makes me resent it.
Well, you have to talk about the elasticity of those platforms. In other words, what is that breaking point? What's the tipping point where there are just too many ads? And I've said this in regard to social media platforms, bringing it full circle. Whenever these social media platforms go public, invariably that company is put on this hamster wheel where they're always trying to increase revenue every single quarter. They have to show revenue for the shareholders, and it's usually at the expense of the user interface, where it gets to be unmanageable for us, the users. If you're on Facebook, did you notice if you're on Facebook, they will send you ads now in your notifications. You're just checking notifications to see, who commented on this or who replied to that. And they're now ads there.
Like Facebook and Zuckerberg weren't miserable enough already. Thanks for that.
But there will be a tipping point where you will not be able to further monetize those platforms. And it's not my problem. I'm just saying that time is coming.
Oh, it's all our problem.
No, you might be right. When we come back, we have to give you this update. Unfortunately, we have to give you an update on the hot Tuah girl. Well, she has a new venture. She's more than aptly monetizing her skills. Is that the right word? Okay, we'll go with that.
Skills? Yeah.
Okay. That's when we come back. It's Later with Mo Kelly.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And the hot Tuah girl, we've been talking about her since she came on the scene. She's now officially a public figure. If you don't remember, the hot Tuah girl, that's what she's called, and she adopted that persona. She was giving an interview. Her real name is Haley Welch. She was given a man on the street style interview where a man on the street walks up to her with a microphone and starts asking her relationship questions. And the question basically was, so what is it you do to make sure that you're pleasing your man? And this is what she had to say.
Talk to and spit on that thing. You get me?
At first, I didn't quite get it, and then I had to listen to it a few more times, and then I understood it because she said, you get me? I said, no, I don't get you. And then I listened to it again.
Talk to and spit on that thing. You get me?
Spit on that thing. Oh, that's what she means. Tuah is like hawking a loogie. Never mind. I don't need to be too specific. Anyhow, she shot up to internet fame. In other words, she was known, I don't want to say the world over, but she was known on social media all over because of that moment. And she started doing interviews, and now she is really taking advantage of it and monetizing it. We've all heard of Jake Paul. He's called the problem child. He was already well established in the social media space as a YouTube personality. And then he started doing these fight exhibitions. He was fighting basketball players, former MMA fighters, so forth. And now he's parlayed that into multi-million dollar business. And part of that business he used to team up with WWE. And also he has a podcast series of people that he's signed to do their own podcasts. And as you might imagine, the Hawk Tuah girl, Haley Welch, has signed with Jake Paul's Better, BETR, his company, launching this podcast. And according to the description, it will be a weekly show starring the 21-year-old viral sensation where Welch will bring her signature blend of Southern values and comedic flair to the show and will also continue to diversify her platform and voice as a regular contributor to the company's always-on, character-driven social content. The show premieres September 10th. I know you're all eagerly waiting to hear it, and we'll sign up. I'm quite sure it will be available wherever podcasts are located. This is what Haley had to say in response to signing her deal. I don't know how much money she's making on it, but she is being sponsored. Quote, I'm so thankful to have my own podcast where you'll discover the real Haley Welch. I'm delighted to join the progressive team at Better, who fully gets me. My show will have a little of everything. Great guests, laughs, relationship pointers, and of course, some down-home Southern charm, close quote. Here's my thing, and this is what I would recommend for any would-be podcaster, any would-be radio personality, anyone who wants to generate meaningful or enjoyable audio content. You got to have something to say. And I don't know if anyone at 21 years old, anyone really has that much to say. I don't know how much life experience. I've worked for radio programmers who said, I won't even hire someone who's under the age of 40. Why? Because they don't have any life experiences. Like, for example, you know all those stories that I tell about the music industry or just growing up in life in general? It's because I've got some life under my belt. Mark Ronner has some life under his belt.
Careful.
Well, okay. All right. Then you don't have life under your belt.
Did you know that Haley Welch, the Hawk Tuah girl, has merch now? You can buy Hawk Tuah merch.
Yes, I did know that because she was, to her credit, smart enough to copyright Hawk Tuah almost day one.
I just looked her up on Instagram, and the first thing I saw was followed by Mr. Mo Kelly.
Yeah, I'm going to follow her. I mean, guess because she is now a newsmaker, and we're talking about her on Later with Mo Kelly. No, she's worthy of discussion, but I wouldn't listen to her podcast because I don't think she, at 21 years old, has all that much to talk about. And part of her pull is being salacious and maybe, sexual, because that's the innuendo of Hawk Tuah. So people, by and large, will be tuning in to get some of those stories. And I'm sorry, I don't have any interest in her that way.
Don't play it down. You're a Hawk Tuah fan. And I'll admit this. I'm getting to be too, because I had a couple drinks last night and I actually thought about ordering a Hawk Tuah shirt or
Well, at least you're honest, because you wouldn't admit that otherwise.
Well, I mean, for you, because your birthday is probably coming up.
No, it's not anytime soon.
Well, it'll come up within the next year.
You're not wrong.
So I think I know what you're getting.
Hawk Tuah and spit on that thing. You get me?
And
Hawk poo and spit on that thing. You get me?
We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
If you missed it, we got it.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the